And I've really got to thank my personal friend and mentor, Glenn Carlson. He's the co-founder of Dent Global, who shared this process with me and really gave me this framework. I did not make this up at all, but I did definitely really dive into creating it. Well, sorry, not creating it, but fulfilling it with what made sense or what my version of a good life looked like. And so again, email me, harvey@inspireca.com, and I'll happily send you through the framework so you can create your own. So the bucket list is a really powerful tool to be able to get some understanding about what does an amazing or inspirational life look like in 4 key pillars: your personal and lifestyle goals, your family and relationship goals, your community and contribution goals, and your business and wealth goals. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've always been fairly goal-centric, but I've always been most clear about articulating the business and financial goals because I love the game of business. But I never really had as much clarity on the other legs of my life: community contribution, family, and personal goals. And so this framework to me gave a really good, prompt or opportunity to really balance out the clarity with which I had in my goals. Because it was kind of like, everything prior to me having met Sarah, I gave everything into my business world. I didn't really have much going on outside of that. So tip number 1 on this bucket list is helped give me at least some balance across, what clarity I had about the future. Business success didn't necessarily or doesn't necessarily equal life success. Now, the other part of, or the down axis of this tool is it sort of works backwards from your 25-year aspirations, 3 to 5 years, and your 12-month goals. So just looking at this top half for a second, that little list of, what would make 2018 great, that is essentially what I've drawn from my 12-month goals. This is for the next 12 months of 2018. But what I find is that it's almost impossible to write your 12-month goals if you don't really know where that fits into a bigger picture, whether it's your 3 to 5 year achievements or your 10 to 25-year aspirations. And so that's why I think a bucket list or a tool that helps stretch you beyond your 12-month style thinking is really valuable. So let me give you some guidance or give you a couple of examples of what I've got going on here. The difference between 3 to 5 year achievements and 25-year aspirations is your aspirations is kind of the essence or the gist of what you want, life to look like. It's almost impossible to dictate, this far in advance, exactly what you're going to be doing and achieving and experiencing in 25 years. But what is the gist? And so for me, the gist is, I'd love to just spend my time doing good. I love this idea of looking after future generations and creating a legacy. I often think about, this time in 120 years' time when my great-grandchildren and their children, look up to me and talk regularly about their great-great-grandfather Harvey and, the amazing work that he did in business, but also the amazing work he did in the charitable space and, how he set us up financially so that we've got choices and we've got options and prosperity. And so that's the gist of what I want to be doing then from a personal sense. And ultimately, I just love to be living by the beach. In the family context, I'd love to have my own big family, like a little All Blacks football team. I'd love to adopt, and I'd love for our family to be doing some charitable things. So it's not just in the business world, but I'd love for our family to have schools and other such sort of support frameworks that our family were responsible for building. In a contribution sense, I'd love to be there at 2030 when the United Nations says that extreme global poverty is just a thing of the past. And in that same sense, I'd love to be the CEO of B1G1 or Accountants for Good or some sort of organisation that really helped spearhead the end of global poverty through the power of business for good. At Inspire, we've got a big global goal of being able to give or deliver 10 million Freedom Days by 2030. Now, Freedom Day is a day where you get the freedom to do what you want, with who you want, when you want. And we know that, but as advisors and accountants who give advice to you as business owners, all of that advice would have a contribution or will contribute to your ability to experience freedom in your life. And so that's what my gift to the world is going to be through the framework or the vehicle that is Inspire. And, you know, I love watching emergency medical shows. I love the idea of how doctors really help and care for people. So, you know, at one point in my life, I'd love to go back to uni and learn to become a doctor, and maybe we go overseas and literally help with, you know, yeah, different organizations who might need some help. You know, in the business context, I'd love to experience again the process of going through an IPO, but this time with my own business. I'd love to exit for a crazy amount at which, you know, me and many, many future generations would never really have to worry about finances in the same way that we did, and my parents did, and their parents did. I'd love Inspire to be at 10 cities and for us to do commercial developments and, you know, have portfolio income that meant me and my family just didn't have to worry about silly little things like money, because it's not really the way that we were designed to live, I don't think. Just working, you know, 365 days a year, 24/7. And so for me, having that aspiration to clear, you know, the gist of what the future looked like, it really helped bring, you know, the next 3 to 5 years and the next 12 months, you know, into reality. And it really just became a matter of like filling the blanks on, you know, I'd love to speak at TEDx again, and you know, we're going to have our offices. We already have a multi-city plan. So, you know, in the next 3 to 5 years is when Brisbane, Melbourne, and Sydney would be up to date. And, you know, there's little personal things that I've always wanted to do, but they're beyond 12 months. So, you know, where do I put them? So, you know, always love to go to the Middle East and do a 30-day fast and go on MasterChef sometime. I think it'd be really fun to do. And so, again, as you can see, all of this comes together to help you create some meaning around what are the best goals to choose in the next 12 months. Now, the second part of this and the final part I'm going to share with you on the bucket list is the 90-day actions. And this is where all of this sort of high-level thinking, high-level dreaming, if you want to call it, really starts to see the reality or the light of day, whereby we've got steps or priorities or activities that are happening now in the next 90 days that are really going to help get us to, you know, making that above portion of the bucket list a reality. So, for example, I'm just going to go through the personal section here. New rituals. You know, I've got a goal of having a dream body of 100 kilos. I saw a photo of me in Cambodia by the pool this week, and it made me look like I was one of those whale seals on the beach in Antarctica. So, new rituals that have started from now. Intermittent fasting until 12. I do a process of colon cleansing, which, sorry to share it, but it's a bit gross, but it's part of the way that I was able to heal so quickly through that recent cancer scare. You know, eating mostly vegetables and journaling, visualization, and meditation every day on what I like to, or aim to call, my miracle morning. I've got an accountability buddy who keeps me on track. I've got a food diary. We're aimed at eating most meals at home, prepared with love, clean and green. And, you know, I've got a new asset that is my gym memberships to the Combsley Pool. So there's new things that I start, there's new assets that I have access to, and there's also things that I stopped doing. So we're stopping eating out so much, which we did a lot last year. I'm going to stop my F45 memberships. It's really expensive in the context of, you know, what I could have got a gym membership to. So what I really encourage you to do is give yourself the gift of going through your bucket list. This took me months really to refine, and really every week I'm still sort of reflecting on it, making some tweaks, putting new things in, ticking things off, and it should be a living, breathing doc that you're constantly in and out of, because it really defines, kind of like your roadmap, you know, what would success look like. So that's the bucket list.